She said it between bites of fruit, her tone flat, like she was commenting on the weather. If it wasn't for pity, no one would have invited you. The words didn't sting, they sliced. Clean, deep, precise. I didn't flinch, I didn't argue. I sipped my coffee and let the bitterness coat my tongue, masking the smile that curled at the edge of my mouth. She thought she'd won. She thought she'd put me back in my place. What she didn't know was that brunch was the last insult I would ever accept. I grew up mistaking cruelty for discipline, sarcasm for love. My mother wore sharpness like perfume, intoxicating enough to make me believe she cared. My brother was the favorite, of course. He inherited her charm, her appetite for control. Together, they made a sport of reminding me I was the outsider. Family was a table with no chair reserved for me. I endured it for years, for gatherings, for traditions, for the faint hope that someday belonging might arrive like dessert at the end of a meal. But belonging never came, only insults dressed as jokes, until that brunch. That was the moment I stopped wanting a seat at their table. That night I sat in the dark glow of my laptop, my fingers steady, my heart silent. I logged in with credentials they had long forgotten I had. Their credit accounts, tied to the family trust, clicked open in neat rows. I disabled every one of them, one by one. Frozen, locked, access denied. Then I drafted an email to my lawyer. The cabin, my father's cabin, left jointly to us, had been a pawn in their game for years. My name was on the deed, but they treated it as theirs. Weekends, holidays, rentals. They laughed when I asked for access. You never use it. They were about to lose it forever. Send. The first call came 3 days later. My brother's name lit up my screen. I let it ring. The second call came an hour later, then the third. By evening, my phone was buzzing in a steady rhythm. I silenced it, watched the notifications stack. Voicemails followed. His voice, frantic, cracking beneath the weight of inconvenience turning into fear. What did you do? The cards aren't working. I can't book anything. Fix this, now! I smiled. The sound of desperation suited him. The truth was, they had built their comfort on my silence. I'd kept the accounts active because it was easier than fighting. I'd let them treat the cabin like a trophy because I hated conflict more than I hated exclusion. But exclusion had ripened into betrayal, and betrayal into clarity. I no longer wanted their approval. I wanted balance. So I gave them what they gave me: absence. Days turned to a week. The calls never stopped. My mother tried next, her voice sugar-laced but cracking beneath the glaze. "Sweetheart, there's been some confusion. Could you call me back?" Confusion? That's what she called her decades of cruelty. That's what she called belittling me at brunch while forks clinked and others pretended not to hear. I deleted the voicemail. The confrontation came not in person, but in paperwork. My lawyer sent the documents, signed and sealed. The cabin was officially listed for sale. My signature carried the weight of finality. When my brother finally cornered me outside my office, his face was red with fury, his voice strained. "You're destroying everything! That cabin is ours!" "No," I said evenly. "It was ours. Now it's mine to sell." His mouth opened, searching for the old levers: guilt, manipulation, shame. But I wasn't 15 anymore, waiting for permission to exist. I was holding the deed, the accounts, the control they had stolen in whispers and smirks. His silence was the sweetest sound I'd ever heard. The cabin sold within a month. The proceeds went directly into my account. I bought myself a quiet place, far away, one where their laughter couldn't reach. They still call sometimes. I don't answer. They still send messages, alternating between threats and pleas. I don't respond. Because my revenge wasn't about shouting or slamming doors or grand confrontations at crowded brunch tables. It was silence. It was absence. It was cutting the cords they had tied around me and watching them trip over the slack. Do I feel guilty? Not for a second. They abandoned me long before I abandoned them. They carved me out of family photos, mocked me into silence, made me a guest at my own bloodline. Now I've returned the favor. And when they sit down at brunch without their cards, without their cabin, without their scapegoat, I hope they notice the empty chair. Because for the first time, that emptiness belongs to them, not me.